But again, to get us started, my name is Emily Wasuna. I am program manager here at the Women's Impact Alliance, part of a small but mighty team. And we're excited to bring you here to this session and that you chose to spend the remaining hour, this hour with us. One of the most powerful aspects of this program is the relationship with the catalyst and her coach. It's a partnership that's built on trust, reflection, challenge, and growth. It's a relationship that's really built on trust and reflection, challenge, and growth that I shared. But if you haven't experienced coaching yourself, you don't really know what that is, and it's hard to grasp an understanding of what a coaching relationship can look like. So today we want to bring that relationship to life, and that's by having a coach and catalyst in conversation with each other in this session. This fireside chat is a conversation between two people who have worked together through the Empowered Leader Program. And they're going to share about how they came into the program, what their coaching relationship looked like, and how that work supported the Catalyst leadership journey. Our hope is that by listening to this conversation, you'll get a deeper sense of what coaching can look like and offer, and why so many leaders find it to be such a powerful part of their development. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that the Empowered Leader Program is a global community of women leaders. The Women's Impact Alliance is a global community of women leaders. And all these women leaders are committed to growing their leadership and expanding their impact and supporting each other along the way. And this conversation is really just one small window into what that experience looks like. The Empowered Leader Program, as you may know, it offers coaching, ally pods, and leadership development labs, which is shared peer learning. So not only do you get coaching through the Empowered Leader Program, you also get a community and a network of women leaders who are supporting you and women who are in the same leadership journey as you. And with that, I would like to introduce our coach and catalyst who will be with us for the next hour in conversation. We have Faith Siele, who is on the screen, and I believe she's waving right now. Um, Faith, I'm going to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what brought you to the Women's Impact Alliance, and what work do you do in the world?
Thank you, Emily, and good morning, good evening from wherever you're joining today's video call. And my name is Faith Siele. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm a WIA catalyst. I'm really glad to be here. I'm the founder of Siena Africa, which is an NGO based in the border town of Namanga, that is bordering Kenya and Tanzania. And I work with women for economic empowerment with the Maasai community that's based there. I'm also the founder of Sifa Cakeland, an award-winning cake house. And I am really, really excited to be here and look forward to our fireside chat today. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Faith, for introducing yourself. Looks like we have lost our coach on this call. Wanted to have her introduce herself and tell us what brought her to the WIA. Um, but she is not on the call right now. So Faith, I guess I'll just do a few questions to you. And tell me about your life as a leader before the Empowered Leader Program. What was going on with you? What were your biggest struggles? And what were you looking to change before the program?
Um, so I joined the Empowered Leader Program in 2024. I remember at that point I was looking forward to. I had just come out of a very difficult season in my family, and I was stuck. I felt stuck. I really genuinely felt stuck, and I was able to get one of my friends who had gone through the program, and she gave me a suggestion. Why don't you try the WIA Empowered Leader Program? And that's when I signed up for it. before the Empowered Leader Program, I sort of I have a background in finance, and I had left finance and accounting industry to get into business. And that's when there was that I was almost I would say I'm like a midlife crisis, because I was just about to turn 40. And I just was wondering, am I really doing what I'm meant to do in life, in the world? Am I really showing up fully? And so getting into the program, the WIA program, was something that I felt I really needed. I needed to join, to just find grounding, and to be able to help me answer some of those questions I was introspecting. And so that was my life before the program.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Faith. I I can imagine the experience was transformational, and I'm excited to hear more about how you were able to grow. Take me, sorry. Can you take
I
me
think
back
there
to a
was something
specific?
with the screen that was happening. I don't know
Yes.
what that
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah,
And I think some people might have been kicked out of the meeting.
oh, we will look into that.
Mm.
Um, Let me try and look into that. But while I'm looking
Okay.
into that, I really want to ask another question to you, Faith.
Yeah.
Um, Can you tell us maybe a specific moment in your coaching sessions where something shifted? Was there a question or conversation or situation that changed something for you, like a light bulb moment? If I can, yeah.
Wow, I was looking forward to that question, mainly because it didn't just shift our coaching session, it shifted my life. And I really hope Coach Fiona can join, because she needs to get her flowers. I need to give her her flowers. She's an amazing coach, and mentor, I would say, in the long term. So when our sessions would begin, there were no two sessions, I would say, that were the same. And there's one, like I said, I remember initially being made, we had to write down our goals, not just for the coaching session, but for what we had plans for. And I can see Coach is trying to call me. So after this, I will text her and maybe tell her what we are doing. So one of the sessions at the very beginning was when we would have a session, and she would take time to just ask me, like, the question she would always ask me is, how are you coming into today's session? And I found that question, I think, being a Kenyan also, it's very hard to have someone ask you that question. And I felt, for once I got to really think, how am I coming and how am I showing up? And I remember the question that she asked that really shifted things for me was, she said, what would you tell your younger self? And by that time, I was two years shy of turning 40. And she told me, so I want you to just take a few minutes to talk to your younger self. And there I was. I was so excited to talk to my younger self. And I remember speaking and saying, my younger self, Faith, I am proud of you. You've overcome so many hurdles. You're a strong woman. You're kind. You have a good heart. And then she says, what would you tell your older self? And of course, I was very quick to give all these beautiful things. I would tell my older self, um, they would be, you've done amazing. You are an established woman in whatever industry you've chosen. And then she said, so it's really good that you've talked to your younger and older self. Now I want you to talk to yourself, your current self. And I remember freezing, and there was just, for some reason, just tears started streaming down my face. And it took me a while to compose myself before I could actually speak to my current self. And I felt like at that point I was very disappointed in myself, almost like I hadn't accomplished the dreams I had planned. And that was really a big shift where I paused and said, if even if the world is throwing stones at me, I shouldn't be among those who throw stones at myself. And it began a journey of me affirming myself, uh, just writing down notes so that I could stumble upon them during the course of the day and my life. And when something good would happen, I would be the first one to actually say, I knew you would do it. So that was something, and I see Coach Fiona is here. So thank you.
It took me back to the time we were working together. But I'm curious to hear, I know you and I talked a bit about it a little, but what your life looked like before you joined the Empower Leadership Program, and what were some of the challenges that you remember you brought to our coaching sessions at the time?
Thank you, Fiona. It's really nice that you're here. Um, And as I said before, I sort of got myself in this crisis where I really started asking and internalizing was the biggest question I had was whether I was actually doing what I was called to do, whether I was in my purpose. And at that time, there was lots of confusion because I had just come out of a medical crisis in my family. And I had gotten to this space where I began questioning. I had initially left the finance field. I was an auditor in one of the big four audit firms, and I left to raise my children. So, of course, after going through all that, there was lots of maybe self-doubt. I remember asking, was that really the best decision at that time that I took? And looking at my children, yes, it was, but um, when I looked back, the business that I had struggled for so long to build, the bakery that I had built during the season when I needed to attend to that medical crisis, they didn't need me. And however, that made me now begin questioning where exactly am I needed? And am I showing up fully in that space? So by the time I was coming into the Empowered Leader program, I remember even as I spoke to the former catalyst who recommended the program to me, I told her I would love to just feel unstuck. I need to just feel that I'm on the right path. And if not on the right path, I need to be pointed to where the right path is so that I can go into that right direction. So that was how I was. I felt like even with my business, I remember writing my goals, and Coach Fiona, you can attest to this. Most of my goals centered around that business, and less than two sessions into our coaching, we realized that wasn't even the main purpose of our relationship. The coaching and the goals that I had were totally different. But I can say in a nutshell that that was how I was before.
Yeah, yeah. And I do remember when you came on, I think we must have gone through about three different sessions. And like you're saying, there was a focus on the business. So I'm curious for you, what created that shift when I think it was about session three or four when we were able to go deeper. Do you remember that time, what was able to assist you in that shift?
So the shift after the session where I shared of where you had me do an activity where I needed to thank my current self, I remember feeling okay, the wall and the expectation for me to show up, it just hit me that I could no longer put that mask because I was using my business as a mask, preventing my coach from actually seeing who I truly was. And something just fell, almost like the walls just began crumbling. especially after that activity. And after that, our conversations sort of moved in a different direction. When we look back even at the notes, you can see there was no further mention, not too much mention of the business as much, because it wasn't really
Mm.
about the business. It was about me. And when I show up and when one of the things I kept talking and telling you was I need to redeem time. I
Mm.
felt like I kept using that phrase, I need to redeem time. And you asked me, what does that mean to you, redeem time? I said, so I feel like I've been this stay-at-home mom, businesswoman, and so many of my friends are way ahead in the corporate ladder. And then you asked me, so when you say you feel like you need to redeem time, does that mean that you're behind? And I said, yes. And you asked me, behind whom exactly? And so remember that phrase. I haven't used that phrase again since then. And realizing that there was just a realization that I'm on my own journey as a woman and as not just a woman, but as a human being. And I need to just extend so much grace to myself as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm curious to know, as those shifts were happening, what was it particularly about the coaching process, that was able to help you navigate some of those things that you were learning about yourself?
So I have to admit this was my first coaching experience, and since the WIA program, my only coaching experience. I now realize that for you, Fiona, because coaching is time bound and we have fixed goals to work on. After the coaching experience, I would call you a mentor to me because it extended um, way beyond the program. So I would say when I came into the coaching experience at WIA, I didn't really know what to expect. I thought maybe you had my idea of coach would be someone who trains like a game or I mean, coaches football or something in a school setting, in a structured setting. So I was curious. I was really curious to find out what exactly that coach would do for me in my personal life. So some of the tools that you came with really they there are tools that I still apply even to date, and those are tools that you would give me some activities. For example, I remember us talking about some of my gifts, my giftings, and we had this tool where I had to really identify what I like versus the things I enjoy doing, the things I'm naturally gifted at doing, and each session was different, I have to say. And with the coaching experience, I expected you to be the one to dictate to me what I was meant to do, but then that was totally different because it was
Mhm.
driven by me. You were just almost like on the sidelines, just cheering me on and like a gym instructor, someone who will not do the work for you, but they're there to know when your back is about to be stretched and they need to pause you. And when I would maybe break, the earlier sessions were filled with many tears because it was unexpected for me. It was raw, and you are really gracious to me, but you also knew when to push and when to pause. So those were the
Mhm.
things I would say. If there's anybody considering coaching, think about it like signing up for a gym. You need to do the work. You need to show up. You may have the best gym membership. You might have the best coach, and I think I had the best coach in the world. But if you don't show up, if you don't also on the side, because the coaching experience was only once a week, I wish it was longer, but there were things I needed to do during the week. Those are the stretches and the building the push-ups. And so those are the things that I would say at the end of the day, the work was actually on me and it drove the relationship. and it was able to give us that result that we were looking for. You knew what you were expecting at the end of our coaching. Unfortunately, I did not know, and I was now at the end is when I remember you saying, I wish we had taken a picture of the before, the faith before the WIA and faith after WIA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that session and just reflecting on how you came in at the beginning and seeing you at the end. And as you look back, do you now see how you show up differently from before the ELP program and now after the ELP program?
Yes, I see a lot of change, especially in the kind of leader I am. First of all, I think my idea of leadership was very twisted. I think I remember, which is why I got so surprised that the business ran without my presence, because I was a micromanager. I would have all the, I mean, everything my team needed to do be run through me. And at the end of the day, I realized that I was really just stifling my team. I was clipping their wings literally. And so after the program, not just in my business space, but even as I show up in my family, in my social space, I think there were things that my idea of leadership meant having so much control. And maybe that was how I was showing up even as a mother, because I could see from my children that sometimes if I didn't show up to direct how things are done, then they would be undone. And so now something that has really shifted in how I lead is I allow people to just do and make mistakes. There's a freedom, and there's just a release that I feel. And if anybody could even have access to some of our social media platforms, not just for Sifa Cakeland, but Siena Africa, you would see the growth. And that has totally, I would say, has everything to do with my team. I have since then been able to just delegate, assign roles. I am not hoarding or clinging on to those titles as much as I did before, thinking that because maybe I have to be there, I have to see what people. You have to show me what this is happening. I used to be scared even to hand over some clients to my team, and then realize that if I cannot trust my team, then there's no way that I expect them to perform. So even with our top clients, I let them run the relationship and the conversations. And I've seen a growth in the kind of people that uh, are working with me. They're not working for me anymore. They are working on as leaders in their own right as well.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Faith. And I remember you mentioning, after experiencing coaching and how you yourself, you're also now taking a coaching approach with how you deal with people, with how you lead and how you manage people.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah.
yes,
Was it
yes,
was
yes.
there anything that surprised you about the coaching process as we went through it?
I would say maybe the especially the beginning when we were starting our sessions and you asking me how I was showing up, and we would take a few minutes to just bring our minds into the session, and maybe what you didn't know was behind the scenes before I would show up to a session. Sometimes there would be other things happening behind the scenes. I would be there were so many expectations and requirements of me outside, and sometimes it was a bit overwhelming. At that point, my husband had just lost his job. I mean, he had lost his job, and so we were right in the thick of things. And I think that's something I didn't expect from my coach, to care so much about my personal life, to be able to just know when to not let that overwhelm the session. And I also saw that the biggest, like I mentioned, I thought you had all the answers as my coach. And then as
Mm,
we went along, I'm like, actually, some of this, yes, I would. I mean, everybody who asked me and everybody who signed up after I joined, I would tell them, please, even if I tried to explain to you what WIA did to my life, you wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to put it in words. But just look at who I am now and make that decision. If there's any difference, especially those who know me, if there's any difference that's worth emulating, please just sign up for the program.
Mm-hmm.
My life is just an that's all you need to see. Just see my life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think there's something about what you've mentioned, which I get questions from a lot of people who are new to coaching and haven't started the process and come with the expectation of getting the answers, like you're saying, from the coach. And sometimes it can be frustrating for some people when they just want to be told what to do. So coming from you who's now experienced the coaching, what enabled you to trust yourself and to be able to allow me as a coach to be, the guy that would ask the questions and leave room for you to be able to uncover the answers that you need?
Yeah. So I would reference back to the gym experience as well. It was like building a muscle. There was a muscle that needed developing, and every session, which is why I would tell, I mean, even my friends who are currently in the WA program, I tell them, please don't miss any session. Don't, I mean, if it depends on you, please just show up, because every week builds something, builds on something. I know that initially one of the things I struggled with was imposter syndrome. And every tool that WA has developed, be it the ally pods or or the group sessions, there's something that is intentionally meant to build something in your life. So I felt there was just a muscle that developed over time, gave me confidence every decision I was making. And
Mm,
especially initially, as we started the program, I remember even with my family, there were decisions I was so terrified about making. One of which was signing up for a program that I needed to do, and it was out of the country. But after the WA program, those decisions came very easily, and I didn't need to defend myself about it. It's something I knew. There was confidence in it. In fact, my husband just said, if you need to take time, just go. And I was out of the country then the 8 months plus, and nothing crumbled. My business stayed secure. My family stayed secure, and I was able to make that critical decision because of the little things, the little muscle that kept developing over the weeks. There's a reason why the
mhm,
program is as long as it is scheduled. The 9 months, almost like a birthing a baby. There was something very specific and that you could just see at the end of the program. Unfortunately, you have no advantage of foresight, but you would see it at the end that, oh, this is the kind of person I am. I'm more confident even in the decisions I'm making. I'm more even confident with mistakes I make, realizing that they're all part of a bigger picture, and it's fine. It's fine if sometimes you make the decision. You have the freedom to redo it or do something else. Yeah.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you've touched on a little bit about the ally pods and the leader labs. How do you feel that it complemented? What role do you feel that it had to play in the entirety of the program along with the coaching?
Wow, yeah. So I used to look forward to the leader labs. I don't know, there was just something. And I think even when my group, we had our survey, we were asked which leader lab stood out the most. And there was one where we talked about the arena, the arena moments. And I I'm one of those who, after the WA program, I went and bought Brené's books and binged on them and wrote notes. And I was able to just watch lots of her programs on YouTube. And sometimes uh, I think it just takes someone to just spark something in you. And there was with my allies who we still communicate even to date, there was a way that WIA put a group of 10 in a perfect way. We complemented each other because we were also from very different industries, and the businesses we were doing were very different, and personalities as well. So even when we had assigned each other something to talk to lead each session, it gave us even the confidence to lead, because you were looking forward to your ally pod when the session was coming. So we had this calendar. It taught us the planning and management and leadership and public speaking. We were of different nationalities as well, and there was just something really beautiful. I have my sister in South Africa. If I were to go to South Africa right now, I know I will just need to call up Sisi, and Sisi, who's one of my allies, and it just made us very close. Once in a while you will see our chat getting active, especially because we had a reminder of when we were meeting. The leader labs, I would say, I never expected them to be as vulnerable as they were. I remember just breaking off the breakout sessions and the main sessions. There was just something very authentic, and I felt that they kind of knew. It was like they knew what I was going through. So there was whatever they would talk about. Sometimes I felt like maybe someone was telling them about my life, because that was what exactly they would be sharing during the session. And I would really want to urge everyone, especially the current the catalysts or who are going through the program, not to miss any session. If you really have to miss, catch up on it. Don't miss. Show up even for your allies and in the ally pods, because they end up building lifelong relationships and friendships. We uh, we are very close as allies, and if even jobs or something that comes up, you'll just see it being shared on the group, and yeah, you play your part as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. And I think from the other side, as your coach, I think they must have played a really good role, because you were able to show up at each coaching session very present, very aware. I was surprised, throughout the sessions, how much awareness you brought, how well prepared you were for the sessions. And I think it's attributable to those programs happening alongside the knowledge on the saboteurs and all the inner work that you were able to
Mhm.
do in the leader labs. I think it's a great complement to the coaching as well. Yeah. And I'm curious to know,
Yeah.
Faith, would you have any questions or for me from the process?
Oh yes, oh yes. As my coach, I think maybe I never got to ask you as many questions, but I'd like to know whether you saw anything shift in me as we were doing the program. What did you see, and what surprised you the most?
I think thinking back to the time when we were working together, I think there was a very significant and obvious shift. Just before the halfway mark of our coaching sessions. I think it was I would say somewhere between the fourth and fifth session, when we were able to dig down to what values really matter to you. And I remember the whole conversation around your values happening, because I think the first couple of sessions, as you observed earlier, was very much around the business, and you were heavily focused on the operational side. And as much as I was asking questions to unearth some things, I think there's also that building of rapport that happens within the first sessions. And as we get to know each other, as you get to become more vulnerable in the sessions. And I think by session 3 and 4, I think then you were able to peel back the many layers and get real. And I think that's when the emotions began to come in some more, and the realization of what it is that you really wanted to do. And then we began working on that through the sessions from then on. In terms of surprises, I don't think it really surprised me, because I think it's common with the people that I've coached. for them to bring a topic to the coaching, sometimes with so much clarity and such sureness of what they want to get out of the coaching. And as we continue to go through the sessions, a lot of the times it does shift as they're able to peel back their layers and become more vulnerable. So I would say the vulnerability is what leads to the transformation a lot of the times.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I remember the value session very much. And it made decision making for me very easy to shift into the NGO, the impact, the impact space, very much easy. And I also wanted to know the problems that I faced, and you are privy, and I think I had shared with you that nothing is off limits. The problems I faced, do you think that it was unique to me, or is it, are there problems that other leaders in the social impact space face? Would you think that
Um,
coaching is a solution to most of these challenges?
Yeah, I would say there are commonalities between what you were experiencing, and I would say particularly among the women leaders that I have coached. One thing I have noticed is family being one of the values that cuts across as an important value with a lot of women that I've coached. And also just what you were experiencing, the external voices, wanting to be of service to the people around you, feeling like you had to meet multiple needs, and be there for other people in their lives, and sort of putting your own on the back burner. I would say that that is a common challenge across particularly women leaders. And I think the beauty around coaching is creating that safe space where you're able to show up in a space that's entirely yours for that 1 hour or those 2 hours, however long the coaching session is, and be able to meet with yourself in a different way where you're able to lock out all those other external voices that give you definitions of who you should be, and really meet yourself and think about what it is that is important to you, whatever that looks like, and what it is that you have within your control that you can begin to creating the reality that you want. So I see that with a lot of women leaders, and I see them being able to come into the coaching space, particularly having never known me from any other circle in their life. I'm a neutral person that they can completely be open with. And I think it allows them to be completely honest about who they are and what they desire for their life.
Wow. So I hear you loud and clear, and how coaching really is critical uh, in this whole space. So I think we will give it back to Emily to, unless Fiona has any more questions for me. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Faith. Thank you for your sharing and for allowing me to walk the journey with you, and for the curiosity and vulnerability you brought into the process. I think I remember at the beginning telling you to come just as you are with curiosity. And that's what I encourage all of my coaches to do. Because sometimes people feel they're not prepared or it's not the right time. And I always say that show up as you are and just come with openness and curiosity, and you never know what that could give you. So I do thank you for bringing the curiosity to the sessions.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you both for sharing what your journey was like together. I just want to ask you one closing kind of like reflection question. What would you say to a woman who's watching this right now and on the fence, telling herself that she's not ready, it's not the right time, or she might not quite belong, or be in need of this level of support? Um, what would you say to that woman?
Faith, would you like to go first and then I can go?
Okay, let me just say to whoever may be listening, and maybe just uh, really questioning whether to join the WIA program or not, maybe uh, thinking about the money, the investment that is required, and the time. And I would like to tell you that in spite of it all, you are worth it. You're worth the investing, not just in money, but in time. So there's never going to be a better moment than now. The sooner you come into knowing what you're meant to do and what you're meant to, how you're meant to show up in the world, the better for you. So those doubts are actually a good sign that it matters to you. And so please show up for yourself. You as a woman, you show up for so many other people and would even gladly give um, your arm and legs for your family and for the people you love. So why not do that for yourself? Why not gift yourself this gift that will keep on giving to you for the rest of your life? So I would say you deserve this. You are the right person for this. And there's somebody, a beautiful, amazing coach who is perfectly suited for you, just waiting for you to sign up. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. I think you've said it so well. I don't even want to ruin it. But yeah, just to echo it, like you're saying, I think just to know that you're worthy to take up the coaching and that there's never the right moment. The right moment is now. I know a lot of people feel that they're not ready. They want to prepare. I've heard it so many times. People will be like, let me just get ready. And when I ask them, what does getting ready look like? And when they begin to describe it, it's what coaching does for you. You know, the preparation that you think you need to do. Let your coach hold your hand as you do that preparation that you feel that you need. And I think I would just encourage anyone to show up as they are, whatever they're going through, whatever moment. I think I used to tell Faith all the time, even if she hasn't done her homework, to just show up for the session, and we can do it together or we can meet her at her present challenge. And that's what I would say to anyone listening, to just show up as you are with your challenges, with your struggles, with your clarity, whatever it looks like, to take on the coaching and to meet it with curiosity, with an open mind, with an open heart, and allow yourself to be vulnerable. And that's when the transformation happens.
Beautifully put. Thank you both, Fiona and Faith, again for sharing your journey and for encouraging the women who are, interested in applying and taking that step and investing in themselves and their futures and their communities as well by being in this program. Um, the partnership between you is really a beautiful example of what's possible when leaders create space to pause, reflect, and grow intentionally. And for those who are watching and curious about this program, I hope that this, conversation gave you a glimpse of what this experience can look like. Everyone's experience is different with their coach, but this is just one example of what that wonderful experience can be. The Empowered Leader Program brings women together from all over the world and pairs them with executive coaches while also offering opportunities for learning, reflection, connection through leader labs and ally pods. If there's something that you've heard in this conversation today that resonates with you, we encourage you to learn more about the program and to apply. I'm gonna be sharing in the follow-ups a link to the program application for those who are interested in applying. The application deadline is coming up soon. And so if you're interested in applying, we encourage you to take a look at the application and begin the process. If you have any questions, reach out to anyone of the WIA team. We're happy to help you answer any questions that you may have. Again, thank you to Fiona and Faith for your honesty, your generosity, and sharing your experience with us. Your story is a powerful reminder of the impact that through that thoughtful coaching and supportive community can have on a leader's path. Thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see many of you in our future conversations. And I wish you all a wonderful day. Thanks again, Fiona and Faith, and we'll be in touch soon.